The very first Manitoba Podcast Festival goes down International Podcast Day, Sunday, September 30th, 12 to 4 p.m. at the Park Theatre. Manitoba's podcast community gathers for an afternoon of networking, education, and so much more, featuring local podcast hosts, producers, radio personalities, taking part in panel discussions and Q&As. Take part in this fantastic networking opportunity. You can like us on Facebook at Manitoba Podcast Festival. Tickets are just $5. The very first Manitoba Podcast Festival, Sunday, September 30th at the Park Theatre.
Thank you to everyone who supports my dad's show. If you'd like to support Witchpolice Radio, go to patreon.com/witchpolice today.
You're listening to Garbage Hill, Winnipeg's first podcast network.
All right, welcome to Witchpolice Radio. If you hear the background noise, you will know that I am once again in the food court, which is like, it seems like I did like one of these in like the 5 years leading up to this year, and then this year it's always in a Robin's Donuts or a food court.
This is the spot now, man. This is the next spot.
It's central and convenient, right? So I can't always go to people's houses and stuff. So this kind of works.
True. You're mobile now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You can do it anywhere.
Exactly. Witchpolice on wheels.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the other voice you're hearing is someone who has been on the show before, but in a bit of a different capacity.
Yeah.
He played the live thing we did at Torque.
Dude, you need to do more of those.
That was really fun. It was really fun.
So good. That was so good.
Yeah, that was the where you guys covered each other's songs. We had three artists, and they all covered each other's music, and it was really fun.
So, it was a lot of fun.
I am definitely thinking of doing another one of those.
Please
I haven't yet, but I mean, I guess just for people who are listening, do you want to just introduce yourself? And because I've always struggled with whether you are JayWood, the band is JayWood, and I think we talked about this last time I talked to you, but it's still kind of murky for me.
Right. So my name is Jeremy. I perform under JayWood. It was kind of like the name of the project, so anyone that was in it was like JayWood.
Okay, cool.
But it's kind of just started with like bedroom pop, so yeah, I guess it was me as JayWood, then the band as JayWood, and then it's just ever changing, really.
So JayWood is always the name, whether you're playing solo or playing with the band. Okay, cool.
It's like the entity that is.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
Totally.
Okay, so you are JayWood of JayWood.
JayWood of JayWood.
Yeah, and I guess like, I know we've kind of been talking about doing an episode just about you for a while, and it hasn't happened for various reasons. But I mean, I guess
very busy.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Yeah, but you have as well. I mean, like you guys just went to Sled Island.
That was a great time. A lot of cool experiences there. A lot of amazing bands. It was for me and the bass player, it was our first time in Calgary. So
cool.
It was like a lot to take in. It was a really cool experience for sure.
Had you toured the other direction before?
No, never. That was in my mind, that was like the goal. That was what I really wanted to do. That would have been amazing. But yeah, West was cool too. Yeah, we got to do it with House Panther, which was really nice.
Right on.
Yeah, so it was a fun time.
I feel like that's one of the coolest things about Winnipeg being such a tight-knit scene is that there's so many bands who are like so incestuous, where like, they share members or they like tour together or run into each other on tour and stuff.
It's funny. I caught a picture of all of us sitting at a table. Yeah. And I looked around. I was like, there's like at least 6 bands worth of people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Table, which is insane.
It's kind of ridiculous. Yeah.
It's crazy. Winnipeg's small and quaint like that, where you can make up 100 bands out of like 4 people.
Well, and just like doing this as long as I have too, the amount of people who have been on the show and then been on like the next year in a totally different band, and then 2 years later in another
crazy.
one.
It's insane. It's ever growing, and like, you hear how creative and interesting Winnipeg's becoming. It's like it's so cool to hear.
Yeah, for sure,
definitely.
So I mean, I guess like just because Sled Island was so recent, that's a pretty high profile show for you guys. Like, how did that come about? Apply for it, or
just applied? You know, I was just trying to apply for as many festivals for the summertime as possible. And then Bailey was the one that recommended applying for Sled, and I had never heard of it prior to that. So as I was looking into it, I'm like, this seems too big to be true.
Well, there's some like really big names.
Yeah, it was really intimidating, but I did it anyway. And then when I heard back that we got in, it was kind of just like, oh, am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, I
was like, holy shit.
We're in a food court. No one cares what you say in a food court.
Just like, hey, I have kids around with my spaghetti.
Well, there might be, depending on...
That's true. But yeah, it was just like a holy shit moment. Yeah. And it just kind of went from there. It was insane.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like... I find that because there's a million festivals, right? Like,
Right.
Even locally, there's like
Totally.
10 billion festivals every
More
year.
sprouting up.
Yeah. I feel like some bands are definitely kind of made for playing festivals.
Totally.
Do you think you guys are?
Okay.
Because you're very like hard to define, right? And I mean, I don't even know how you would promote it like
Right.
to someone who has completely alien to it. Yeah.
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that because as soon as we got in and they released like everyone playing, the first thing I noticed was hardcore bands, punk bands, and just heavy bands. And I was like listening through all the people. I'm like, how the hell are we gonna?
Yeah, because that's not you guys.
It's not us at all.
Yeah.
But you know, it's like going to shows and hearing all the different styles. I was like, holy crap! It's like a lot like kind of what JayWood is. It's like a lot of people with one sound, 1 second, and then they kind of bring it in a completely different direction. So I don't know. It's like for that festival, it seems like they're trying to maybe branch out from just the punk hardcore sound, because learning from a few of the artists from Calgary, they were saying that it's a punk city, and that's kind of the big thing, but it's slowly trying to transition a bit. And I think I could see a lot more Winnipeg artists doing really well at Sled Island for sure.
Well, even House Panther, I mean, obviously, I think it's more, that band is more directly punk influenced than you are, but like, than you sound anyway,
Right.
whether you are or not is
I'm a punkhead soul. But no, totally, they fit right in. It's like, I saw them perform at the one patio show, and I'm like, right after they had another great band perform with them, I was like, this is totally their festival for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned that before we started recording that since the Sled Island thing, which wasn't that long ago, a lot of people left the band and the band has changed.
Yeah, the band is kind of going through a lot of different changes right now. Darren and Keith, who were in the band from Black Cloud, they decided to go their separate ways.
Are they all in a million bands too, though?
Well, Darren is in like 3 other bands.
Yeah.
Keith was in this and Black Cloud.
Okay.
They weren't really enjoying it as much as they had hoped, I guess, or I'm not too sure. It's still like a lot of things that probably need to get worked out, but they decided to go their separate ways. My bass player Dylan Vincent decided to leave. So it's just kind of back to being
It's just you?
It's just me right now.
Okay.
So I'm trying to keep going forward with like the laptop and the record and everything, and I'm gonna see where it can take, and slowly starting to piece together some new members, and we'll see what happens. You know, it sounds like there's still a few opportunities floating around. So
cool.
Yeah, we'll see what can happen.
Well, and like we were just saying, there's lots of people in Winnipeg that are in so many bands that you can easily just kind of pick and choose.
Can I borrow you for the show?
Yeah.
It's totally true.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? You know, maybe they'll want to come back later on in the future. But
for sure.
Yeah. Totally.
Has it always been a project though where you're doing all the recording and the band is just a live thing, or?
That was how it like started. Definitely, like from everything up to this point has been just me recording and everything. And I was almost at that point too where I wanted to start writing with the band and seeing what kind of sound I can get out of that. We sadly didn't get to that point, but you know, I'm more open-minded and more. I think before I was just so like hesitant on like collaborating with artists because when you do solo for so long, the idea of just writing with people after that is so weird. But I'm like,
there's a personal element too, right?
Exactly, you know. So, but I'm a lot more open to working with people with new material now than I was before, for sure. Yeah.
What was the? I mean, how did the songs change significantly since you brought in all those other people, or are they?
Absolutely.
Like, have you seen some of that now that you play them solo too?
Oh, definitely. It's like the band added so much more to the songs. Like they were just like, how did Darren say it? He's like, I bring like the recipe and they just add the ingredients essentially, and it just the song sounded 100 times better with the band. And I was like, wow, this was a project, and now it's like a unit. It's really amazing, and I was like, holy crap! It was so cool to see how they changed, and like over maybe the year we've been playing, we've had a few different drummers, we've had a few different guitar players. It's been really rotating, but every time it's something different and it changes and it makes it feel fresh and unique. And
do you take something from each iteration of the band that like kind of carries on in the new stuff?
I hope so. Like I from the stuff I was hearing, I hear stuff I really, really like, and I hear the stuff that. Well, the thing is, I was never hearing anything bad, so it's like,
that's good.
Yeah, so it's like, but yeah, definitely, I'm starting to notice a pattern in how things move forward, which is really sick. Everyone has that same idea in mind.
Yeah,
and it's pretty much an open thing. It's like if you have an idea, toss it in the mix. You know, it's like we can make it work and we can kind of play around with it. Yeah, definitely.
So you're still, when you're doing solo stuff, it's you with the guitar and the laptop sort of thing?
I have like the backing tracks on the laptop just because like one, I feel like the songs work best with other parts around them.
Sure.
And two, it helps with stage fright.
Because you have somebody there.
Exactly.
There.
It's like I have a whole band compiled into my laptop, thankfully, so I don't feel too alone on stage.
If you screw up, they might not know if it's on the recording. Or,
totally. Yeah. And I'm constantly like listening to the backing track, which is so it's like I block out the fans, and I'm just so focused on keeping in time that it's like it's like a nice thing to just like take away from the stress and anxiety. Yeah.
And you have a couple things. You have some recordings that are out now already, right? And so those just recorded on your own kind of type?
Totally. I chipped away at those over the past few years on GarageBand. Moved over to Logic, and just like the first EP was just kind of me learning how to record, which is, you could definitely hear it because it sounds like complete ass. But and to the last one, like Somber Summer, it's like I was slowly starting to figure out how to make things sound better. And to this new full-length album that's going to be coming out soonish, hopefully, that was like the next step of going to the studio and actually
doing it all legit. And the guys there have been, I'm so in love with Collector. I recommend that to everybody and anybody. They're amazing there. They are just so good, and they make you love music and make you feel like you have. Oh, they're so good. I can't say enough good things about them. So what's the process for you then if you're, now a solo act again, and you're recording in the studio? Are you just kind of individually playing each instrument, or are you bringing other people in for the recording?
For recording in the studio, how it kind of worked was the guys recorded the songs they knew. And I would record the songs... I had the whole album finished, like demo-wise. And then I sent it over to Collector, and they're like, all right, let's do this, and record it. So the guys knew like a few songs on there, and the rest of them I would just chip away at. So I'd go in there a lot of the days and do the bass, do the guitar. But then I'd bring in the rotating drummers. So I had Mac Vannon, who's in hundreds of bands, but I love that kid to death.
He's a great drummer too.
He's so good, so good. Had him come in for a few songs. Keith, he did like 4 songs on it, and they all sound amazing. And then we had our old drummer Cody Giddens, who pretty much played with us for maybe a year and a half before deciding to leave. He did like a few songs on there, so you kind of hear it change, but that's also kind of plays with the theme and kind of the idea of the album as well. So it worked out really well.
So is the album kind of conceived as a full unit of songs?
It's a full unit. Like this one was the one. I'll talk to you after. Okay, I'll find it.
What are the hazards of recording them all, right?
Seriously, totally. It's like you meet so many people you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt like the EPs before, they didn't have the production, but they had a good amount of songs on them, but I didn't want to call them a full-length album.
Right.
This one felt like a full-length album because there was like a big cohesive idea with it. It just felt like it felt big and real and like a big idea. Yeah, for sure.
Is the is the order of the songs important and all that? It's like meant to be listened to as a package?
Actually, so the main idea of it is it's a concept album. It's like radio's changing, radio surfing. So one section of the album sounds like indie pop, like the stuff you hear kind of locally. Then it just changes to like dancey, funky songs, and then it changes into like shoegazy, dream pop stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like has skits in there, and it has like radio kind of. It just has a cool vibe about it.
Cool.
It's just been weird and tricky to kind of make it up to this point. Because funny enough, like every EP I've released, they're all like connected in some weird way.
Like to each other?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, cool.
Have you heard of like Tyler the Creator?
Yeah.
Like all of his 3 albums that came out, like Goblin, Bastard, and Wolf, they're all like interconnected.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. So I tried to kind of do that myself. So if you listen to all those albums, like those EPs, like the JayWood stuff, then listen to this, you'll be like, holy shit.
Cool.
There's like a big picture there, which is really neat.
How do you do that then if everything's connected while also making the individual tracks working on their own, right?
I think it's like, it's kind of like the Marvel universe.
Okay.
It's like every movie has its place, but like it's all connected to a bigger universe type thing where it's like, you just have that back of your mind thought while making each song.
Okay. But it's noticeable? Like you think the listener will be able to pick up like, shit, this is connected?
It's like, if they really wanted to listen to it, it's there. But if you just want to listen to the songs, that's totally cool there. It's like, I know, because like I kind of put those Easter eggs and such, but like if someone's like, hey, I noticed you say this thing a lot, or you keep referencing this thing, it's like, oh, go listen to this, and you'll hear the first part and get the context. Cool. That's exactly what it is.
Does that work for live stuff too? Like, do you kind of structure your sets maybe in songs that will connect? Or
I don't do that too often, but that's something I've been really wanting to experiment and do more of. Like, one of my favorite bands probably right now is like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Such a great name too.
It's such a cool name. When I first saw it, I was like, I couldn't take them seriously. Then I hear that, I'm like, holy shit, these guys are serious. But their sets are built in such a way where it's like they're telling a continuous story. They don't have breaks in between, and they just hash it out, and it's so cool. And I'm like, I really, really want to do that. So like, I was kind of playing around with the idea of making those continuous sets, and who knows, maybe in the future I can figure that out. But yeah, that's a really cool idea, Sam.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
I want some copyright. Get some royalties on that.
Totally. It's like, that was my idea.
Well, part of the reason I was asking about like the structure of the album and stuff, and whether they all interconnect, is because like, and this is as people who listen to the show know, I tend to like complain about the way people listen to music nowadays. But it almost seems like it's hard to do that now because of the fact that people will just grab one song, right?
Exactly.
And then they won't even get the context. Yeah, shuffle, right? They'll just press go. And,
You know, it's funny you mentioned that. Back to King Gizzard, the first time I heard Nonagon Infinity, I don't know if you've ever heard that album. If not, definitely check it out.
Okay, I'll check it out.
It's one of those albums where you have to listen to it all the way through. I listened to it on shuffle, and I'm like, there sounds like there's an idea there.
Right.
But then I listened to it in entirety. It's the same thing. It's like no breaks in between songs.
Yeah.
It's like a whole cohesive idea. And I'm like, wow, I was listening to music kind of like in that shuffle single way before, but then that really forced me to like go and listen to an album in its entirety.
For sure.
And I go back to something Darren was always saying, where it's like, you know, you got to hear the full idea. You got to see what the bigger picture of an album is when you listen to it.
Because the Screaming Kids, I was mentioning.
Screaming Kids in that way, yeah. God,
they heard the swearing. And,
they're like, oh, mom's going to come and beat the shit out of us. But yeah, you got to see the bigger picture of everything, which is really neat. So
for sure.
Yeah, I definitely want to try and figure that out a lot more.
It's almost weird that that's not the default anymore, though, because that used to be like, tape, record, CD, whatever. Well, CD, I guess you had more advantage to skip around, but usually you just sit down and listen to the whole thing, and now it's almost like you have to plan for it to be listened to wrong.
Totally. It's absolutely that's it, you know, it's like, and I think that's kind of what a lot of the EPs I put out were. They're just like, you can listen to it in any way you want, but I think with this album, I really wanted to try and engage that, and working in a music store for so many years, you kind of get an appreciation for what like what albums sound like and everything. So I'm like,
right, because you got that in the background.
exactly.
Yeah,
It's like, and I wanted to kind of pay homage to that and just do something that would kind of
cool
last and work a lot better.
No, that's cool. That's very cool.
Yeah.
So one thing that I've kind of always wondered, not about you specifically, but I feel like there's a whole generation of bands that is younger than me, right? I mean,
right.
I stopped playing in bands probably about 10 years ago.
You got to start it up again.
I don't have time. I'm doing this and kids.
True, that's true.
But if I did, I would be doing it. But maybe one day. But it's like I kind of know, I have a good frame of reference for where a lot of the bands in my age group, like, you know, mid-30s and up, came from, because I know the local bands they were into, and probably can figure out, oh, you were going to these shows, and that's how you end. But like, where do you got people in your kind of, I mean, Black Cloud's a good example of people who were mixed in with your bands, and guys like Mac and stuff. Like, were there local bands that were really kind of like signpost bands that were like, oh shit, everyone goes to see these guys? Right.
I feel like when I first started going to shows, Darren was the guy that brought me to the shows, and Darren was the guy that kind of, you know, pointed, this is such and such and this is such and such. It was really the Daughter, the Goodwill, those were the spots.
Just like whoever was playing
exactly, kind of thing, you know, and like one of the first shows I actually ever remember going to in the scene was Micah Visser, Love Snow, and Not Me. Okay. And then after that, I didn't realize there was an actual scene built around that style.
Yeah, that's a very specific style too. Exactly. All three of those, right? Like,
yeah, for sure. And because back when I was playing music, maybe a few years ago, it was just metal. Yeah, it was only metal, and that was like the worst phase for me personally.
Right, because you're not playing metal.
Exactly. It's like I was trying to like. I remember like the band I was in, Public Parkade, which is like indie poppy, like Tudor Cinema Club-esque music. And
how long ago was that?
Maybe 2013, like 12, 2000.
So this is really not that long ago, I guess. Yeah.
When I listen, like, think about it in hindsight, someone was like, that was only like 5 years ago. So what? Yeah. I'm getting hella old. But yeah, it was maybe like 5-6 years ago that we were doing that. And it was just a lot of metal bands, a lot of, you know, cover pop-punk bands. But I think... Yeah, like it seems like now it's like a giant cesspool of everybody, like you said, just kind of working with each other and trying to get something new. I think I'm seeing a lot of new faces. I'm seeing a lot of
which is good. You want that,
which is really good. Yeah, I'm not hearing too many like different sounds. I think it's also because everyone's kind of in everyone's shit now.
Yeah,
it's like you're just kind of stirring the pot, but it's not changing the taste or ingredient.
Right, and once you kind of get set into a group of people and a group of bands you go see all the time, there's this other thing that's happening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like I kind of came into the scene at a really big point where like all these bands were kind of starting up anew, which was super great.
Yeah, that's cool.
And then I guess I'm just waiting to see what comes next, really. And hearing that there's a lot of things brewing, I'm like, oh, it's going to be a really good next year, and so on and so forth. And like you were saying with the festivals, new things are popping up, which means new ideas kind of get formed with those things too. So yeah.
Do you think that you fit in? Do you think that your style of music, however you want to define it,
right?
Do you think it's like moldable enough that you can fit into various different kinds of festivals?
I think, it's funny. I was actually like talking about this. It's like I think it kind of can. Like, if I was gonna apply for Jazz Fest, but I was like, maybe I shouldn't because I don't feel jazzy enough.
It doesn't seem to matter based on who they got for Jazz Fest.
And then I look at the lineup and I'm like, what?
Yeah. Flaming Lips.
Yeah, Flaming Lips, Micah Ehrenberg. It's like, what? This is crazy. It's like there's a giant shift kind of occurring where it's like the kind of genre-based festivals are now just becoming festivals.
Yeah.
Like, even Folk Fest is like kind of poppy, funky. I mean, I guess that's always kind of been the case, but it's now changing with like as time goes on. But I think I was even thinking around the idea of like, oh, maybe I could apply for Folk Fest. Maybe I could. I think
you probably could.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. It's like, but I think I could definitely try and find a way to get into those festivals. And if I did, I'd want to play it the more like I would want to force that style more in the set to kind of fit in with that.
So you don't feel bad about it.
Exactly. If I got into Jazz Fest, I want to choose the jazziest songs in my set.
But I mean, you do have some that could have elements of.
Totally.
I mean, I wouldn't call it straight up jazz or anything.
Definitely. And if I played in Folk Fest, I'd just play with an acoustic.
Right. There you go.
It's simple. Exactly. Play Haya on fucking mushrooms.
Fit right in. Yeah.
Exactly. Done.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, it's always. I feel like it's so hard to. I mean, I haven't even asked you what genre you call your music because it's for a lot of people, unless you're just obviously a straight ahead thing, it's hard to do. Like, I mean, I've heard a lot of different names for it. I just say it's experimental because like my favorite band of all time is the Gorillaz. Okay,
and they're one of those bands that
what do you call them either, right? Like,
exactly. You know what? It's hard to be a Gorillaz fan nowadays because they put out some really shit music recently, and I'm pretty embarrassed to say that, but no, like they really influenced me in that sense where it's like you don't have to be locked into an idea. You can keep changing and keep growing. And
because they have like songs that are more hip hop based, and songs that are like just way out there and stuff.
If you listen to Gorillaz like maybe 5 years back, it won't sound like Gorillaz now. It's like
which won't sound like the first record.
Exactly. It's just been ever changing. I'm like, I want to kind of try and do that as much as possible.
Cool.
And a lot of bands like Radiohead too, which have just been like this ever changing thing. It's like I think I want to keep trying to challenge myself. It's like it's a way to keep music interesting
for sure.
It's like if I was doing the same thing over and over just because I thought it was like working and popular, I'd be bored out of my mind. But it's like keeping something changing mentally. It's like, okay, I have to be more creative. I have to think more outside.
For sure,
get more influenced.
Well, and I guess like if you're doing something that is not so super clearly definable, then you don't have to worry about like trying to appeal to that
catering.
crowd, right?
Catering. That's the big thing. It's like I've heard there's a lot of funk elements in there. There's a lot of psychedelic elements. I think it was Darren said it was like jangle R&B.
Okay.
Which I'm like, okay, I can see.
Sounds cool.
That sounds cool. Like I could see that. But and even with the EPs I've released, I think I've made R&B songs. I've made like folkier songs. I've made electronic songs. At this point, I don't even know what to call it. But I think it's kind of set on like a psychedelic, funky sound.
Okay.
For sure.
Which I guess can be more subdued when it needs to be, and more
exactly.
More
it's like it can go one way or the other.
Cool.
Totally.
So when now that you're back to being solo, and for future, if you do get another band and stuff, what do you look for in players to kind of suit your music?
Totally.
Especially because we just said it's kind of nebulous, right? It's hard to define.
Absolutely. I think people just kind of wanting to experiment, which is a big thing. It's like people that are just kind of fearless musicians. It's like, don't be afraid to fuck up. I'm living proof that fuck-ups can do something, right? So, but like people that just kind of have ideas and want to voice them and just want to, you know, play around with ideas, and it's like, and people that can communicate too, or
of course,
if they want to say something that sounds really good or something that sounds really bad, it's like, yeah, that's great. I'm like, don't be afraid to challenge me, because
right, you're not like the dictator of the,
I never want to feel that way. And it's like, if you have something, that cool idea you're thinking of, please, like, I think that's all I really look for.
I think the only way the dictator thing works is if you're like James Brown and you're that personality where you're just like everything is completely controlled and
exactly.
you have
like when you walk in the room, it's complete silence.
Yeah, exactly. If you have that personality, you can do that, but that's very few. Like,
I would hate that. I hope to God that's not how people see me, because it's like, no, that's not at all the case.
Well, every time you see like, you know, old footage of his band playing and they're so good and it's just like it's so funky, but then you hear the backstories and it's like he was finding them, they screwed up and stuff, and you
just throw a shit at them.
I can't imagine how it seems like the opposite of fun for like the most fun genre of music.
Seriously, totally. That's exactly it. I just want people to kind of throw in their ideas and like see what else we can cook up and keep experimenting and keep going with exploring the soundscape. Really,
Is when you're teaching someone the material, do you just sort of give them the recording of the backing tracks and say like, this is how it?
Right. So how I usually send stuff out to people is I'd send them the full song with all the parts. Yeah. Then I'd send the song with their part cut out. So it's like, here's my idea.
Oh, and like you add to it.
Exactly. Cool. It's like you can do what I did. You can add your own stuff over top of that. You can do something completely new if I'm
That's
really,
actually super cool. Yeah.
If I'm super stoked on it, I'll be like, yes, keep this, change this. I'm totally open-minded.
So you give them the like surrounding context, and they just
exactly.
Cool.
So like you have the idea, then you have room to play around with it. And like if I hear something I really like, I'll definitely let them know. Or it's like if I hear something I'm not too stoked on, it's not rare. It's like a pretty rare thing where I'm like, I hate that. Don't do that ever again. It's like I'm like, oh, you know, let's play around with it. That can work. I hear what you're doing there. Let's just shift it. But yeah, it's a pretty open thing, and I kind of like that. Terms of working in music, where it's like, here's my recording, this is my idea, but when we perform live, it's no longer just me, it's a band.
Right, you're going in different directions off of that original thing, which is a very jazz thing to do too, right? So it's
like I have my idea and then I have the band idea. It's just like, even in practices, like the bass player would be telling guys the arrangements of songs, and I'd just be sitting back like,
oh really?
Yeah, a lot of times. Cool. Like, he's like, it goes this, and this, and I'm just like, yeah, that works. I'm like, you guys are running the show.
That's
right
awesome.
now.
That's awesome.
Totally cool.
You just get to be the front man.
Exactly. It's like I really enjoy doing the music when you guys are having the most fun out of it. Totally.
How much room is there for improvisation in your songs, like especially when played live? I'm thinking because you mentioned the psychedelic aspects and stuff, and a big part of that is just kind of going where it goes, right? Yeah.
We had little pockets of those moments because, and I think even with newer material, I was thinking of doing less singing sections just to have more jam sections. But there's a lot of free room to do that, and I think a lot of the times I can just cut out vocals if I'm not feeling
just kind of let it
do what it wants to do. I think we've changed structures for songs with new members coming in, which has been cool. So it's it can really be whatever we want it to be and whatever sounds the best for the group that we have.
Are there elements that, whether it's different instrumentation or anything, that you've kind of always wanted to do that now maybe you have an opportunity to try because you don't have the band anymore? Are there things that you kind of hear when you're writing them that haven't been in there yet? Or?
I really would love to get more MIDI stuff in there. More I wanted a multi-pad and a drummer that kind of plays on those.
Cool,
I've always wanted that just because a lot of my favorite bands use that. That seems cool. Also getting one of those for myself and just having more sounds, less I don't know, just more room for the songs to breathe, which would be really nice. And I don't know, that's an interesting. You got me thinking now, Sam. Shit, I gotta rethink my whole life. But no, definitely just it kind of brings me back to square one. It's how am I gonna make these songs interesting? Because playing to a backing track, it's the same song over and over. But it's okay, now I have to go back and tinker with them to keep them interesting.
Right. And do you do that between shows?
I'll change up the songs. I'm maybe I'll add this, maybe I'll take this out, maybe I'll do this part instead of this part, just to keep it interesting. It's if I'm playing the same thing over and over, I will go insane. So then I won't enjoy it as much.
Well, because you have the backing tracks, have you ever considered or tried having someone else manipulating them while you're playing, taking out elements or bringing in kind of a dub style sort of thing, in all of a sudden boom, the guitar's gone, right? And
that'd be amazing.
And effects and stuff.
Having a DJ, that would be cool. I've never thought of that, and I don't have I have really horrible equipment. I have my.
I get it. I totally get it.
It's fucking good though, and it sounded great. So you're doing great.
Sometimes it sounds great.
All this just goes to
track. Exactly.
But that's a cool idea. I've thought about that. If someone had
they had tracks with all the different instruments.
That would be amazing. And it'd be then I'd feel I'd feel like a rapper.
Yeah.
I guess it's funny. Anytime I tell people I do music, they immediately assume I do rap. It's because I'm obviously because it's just a black guy doing music. They never expect that. But
and then you play for them.
Exactly. And then having a setup like that would make it kind of feel. No, it kind of feels like that in a sense. But that's a cool idea, dude. That's a very cool
trying to come up with ways you don't need a band, right?
I love the band feel, but for the time being, I guess you gotta just work around it. That's a cool idea for sure.
So when are you expecting the full length to come out? Is there sort of a timeline, or?
I was wanting it to be in fall, but I think I might have to push it back a little bit. Maybe early next year.
Okay,
maybe. Cool. Well, I'm gonna play around with it. I've been talking to the guys at Collectors. What do you think's the best move? Yeah, we're gonna work.
But it's on its way.
Exactly. I think I'm gonna put out the first single from it maybe later this month,
cool.
even maybe I'll send it to you and you can debut it first.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
That'd be cool. We can do that.
So by the time this comes out, you might be hearing it.
Hey, there you go.
Or the album's already out.
I'll wait for you to release it.
All right.
And then I'll put it out.
Cool. Yeah, that sounds good.
So
exclusive right there.
Exclusive for Witchpolice.
Right on.
Yeah, nice.
Are you planning to do a release show and stuff once that comes out, or?
I'm not too sure. That'd be that, in mind. That would be so cool. I guess it really works if I have a band.
For that helps.
Yeah, totally.
For sure.
But if I do at that time, I would love to do that. I have some people in mind I would love to play a show with. And
cool. Mm-hmm. And then going back to the what we were talking about before with the kind of concept album and everything like that.
Right.
Are you releasing it physically? Is that sort of what you want to do with
it? I'm not too sure. I would like to have.
That seems like the best way to make it so people will listen to it.
That's very true. I guess I kind of have to now, right? So you cornered me there in that sense. But physical copies would be great. It'd be nice to just kind of have it and hold it and see
For sure, yeah.
So probably. Let's do that. Let's go with that.
Yeah, you're already here.
Physical copies coming soon eventually.
Awesome. Are you going to be playing a lot of shows leading up to that, or are you sort of just waiting for the record to come out?
I'm going to try and get as many shows solo as possible, and any bigger shows. I think I'm going to try and apply for festivals.
Yeah.
And for those festivals, I'll round up a band and be I want to keep playing and moving forward as if everything was still the same. But yeah.
Is there a concern that the songs that, since you've been working on for a while,
Right.
are they going to ever feel stale before the album comes out? Because I think that might be an issue some people have, right? Where it's like they've been doing this for however long,
right.
and then they record them, and then they got to play them at the release party, and by the time they actually get it released, it's like, oh, I'm sick of these. I've already made the 12 new songs.
It's funny that you mentioned that. We've only played 3 songs on the full-length album.
Okay, then you're good then.
Yeah, so it's like, there's like maybe 7 songs. Like, I think it looks like 4. It's a big
bunch of songs.
Yeah, it's a bunch of songs, but there's like maybe 7 songs no one's ever heard.
Oh, cool,
before.
that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's like, I have that in my back pocket, so that's like the trump card and all of this. Just like there's still so much music coming from this project that a lot of people haven't heard yet, and who knows, there's maybe more to come after that. So yeah,
cool.
It's a way to keep it fresh.
So if people are hearing you for the first time on here, what's the best thing for them to do to find out more about your music and hear what you have out currently? And
Bandcamp for sure.
Okay.
I think I'll maybe get some stuff on Spotify.
Okay. Yeah.
Very soon. There's also a few songs on SoundCloud as well. Okay. But I think that's kind of like a dying thing.
That's hard to say. I keep hearing that it's dying, and then I keep seeing people posting stuff on there. So
it's dying, and then like a SoundCloud rapper makes $1 billion.
And then you see like thousands more SoundCloud rappers.
It's like, wait, what? I thought this was gone forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's like Bandcamp and SoundCloud for sure.
And then social media.
And Facebook, Instagram. Yeah, not on Twitter. I don't think that's a thing.
It's a thing.
I mean, it's a thing for the president, but not for me,
Well, I use it to talk shit to the president every day.
Hey, Donald Trump.
Yeah.
I hate you.
It accomplishes absolutely nothing, but it feels good. It feels good.
It feels good.
The other day, I just put "eat my balls." It felt warm inside.
You know what? You deserve.
Felt like I accomplished something. Right?
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. So yeah, people should check out your Bandcamp and follow you on the ones you are on Facebook, Instagram.
Yeah, I'm not on Snap. That's
no, I don't understand that either. I'm too old for that.
I feel that. I feel that at a spiritual level.
Yeah. And if you want to hear more episodes of this show, go to witchpolice.com. All 300 and some episodes will be there for download and streaming. Yeah, the 300th episode's coming out this coming Saturday. So by the time this comes out, it'll be 3 something. So yeah, do 2 a week now. Released in 2 weeks. So
nice. That's amazing.
The numbers are going to get higher.
How are you doing, Sam? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were like, I'm overworked.
No. It's fun, right? I mean, I enjoyed this part of it.
We love all the work you do.
Thank you.
So, thank you. Keep doing it, and please do another one of those mutual appreciations.
I'd like to. I definitely will. I will stay tuned. Maybe that'll happen. But
nice.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thanks a lot for having me.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Seriously.
Right on.
Those give lead to motives. So just try and move your feet. This shit should be happening still in a different town we can meet. I'll go through all the motions and still I contemplate defeat. We'll enclose this waiting outload is gonna take me where I wanna be. Instead you got me so wrong. Watch all these streets pass by and I'm still beside. I feel so lately.